I'm going to tell you something that will make you uncomfortable. I'm not a good person. I mean, I'm not cruel, I don't kick dogs, I tip well at restaurants. But the thing I did to my ex-boyfriend Marcus was not the act of a forgiving, emotionally healthy woman who'd processed her trauma and moved on. It was the act of someone who sat very still for a very long time and waited for exactly the right moment, and I have zero regrets. Let me start from the beginning. Part 1. The perfect relationship. Marcus and I dated for 4 years. We met at a friend's birthday party. He spilled wine on my dress, apologized so genuinely that I actually felt bad for him, and somehow that turned into a 3-hour conversation on a fire escape. Classic. He was charming. Not in a slick, calculated way, in a warm, boyish way that made you feel like you were the funniest person he'd ever met. He remembered small things. The name of my childhood cat, which coffee order I switched to in winter, that I hated the sound of balloons. He showed up. He was consistent. I thought I'd found someone real. We moved in together after 2 years, talked about the future in that comfortable, low-pressure way where you're not making promises, but you're both clearly building towards something. I introduced him to my parents. He introduced me to his. Our lives were braided together in the way that makes eventual separation feel almost physically impossible. I was happy. Genuinely, completely happy. Which is why what I found nearly destroyed me. Part 2. The receipt. It was a Tuesday, ordinary in every way. I was looking for a parking receipt for an expense report. I'd been through my bag twice and remembered Marcus had borrowed my wallet over the weekend to grab something from a shop while I was driving. I checked the small zip pocket. No parking receipt. What I found instead was a receipt from a restaurant. A nice one. The kind we went to for birthdays and anniversaries. Not the kind you go to on a random Saturday afternoon. For 2 people, I hadn't been with Marcus that Saturday. I'd been at my mother's, helping her repaint her hallway. I remembered specifically because I'd come home with pale blue paint under my fingernails, and Marcus had kissed my forehead and said I smelled like a hardware store. I stood in our kitchen holding a small piece of paper and felt the floor do something strange under my feet. I put the receipt back exactly where I found it. Took a photo of it first, and then I did something that surprised even me. I closed the zip pocket, put the wallet on the counter, and started making dinner like nothing had happened. Part 3. The investigation. Here's what I didn't do. I didn't cry. I didn't confront him. I didn't check his phone while he slept or hire anyone or do anything dramatic. What I did was think. Because that receipt could mean several things. A work lunch he'd forgotten to mention, a surprise he was planning, an innocent explanation I hadn't considered. I am not someone who destroys things on a maybe. So for the next 2 weeks, I watched. Quietly, carefully, without changing a single visible thing about my behavior. I laughed at his jokes. I made plans with him for the summer. I kissed him hello and goodbye and acted, as far as I can tell, completely normal. And I looked for patterns. They were there. They'd probably always been there. I'd just never been looking. His phone, which he used to leave anywhere, was now always face down or in his pocket. He had started going to the gym on Thursday evenings, which was new. Marcus famously hated gyms. He was slightly more attentive than usual, the way people are when they're compensating for something invisible. Small uptick in compliments, small uptick in affection. Guilt has a very specific texture if you know what to look for. And by the end of week 2, I wasn't working with A maybe anymore. But I still didn't know who. That question answered itself, unexpectedly, through someone I'd never considered. Her name was Nina. She worked with Marcus. I'd met her at his company's Christmas party 18 months earlier. Pretty, sharp, the kind of woman who holds eye contact a beat longer than necessary. I'd noticed her then and filed her away as not a threat, because Marcus had seemed completely unbothered by her presence. I was going through his jacket pocket looking for a specific USB drive he'd said was there. He'd asked me to grab it, so completely legitimate. when I found a folded note. Handwritten, just a few lines, unsigned, but with a very specific inside reference to a joke that Marcus had told me was a private bit between us. Something he'd told me he'd made up. He hadn't made it up. Or he'd told it to someone else first. I refolded the note, put it back, and went and got the USB drive. Part 4. The decision point. I want to be honest with you about what the next few weeks felt like, because I think people imagine revenge as this hot, immediate thing, fury that needs an outlet. It wasn't like that. It was grief first. Actual, physical grief. I would be in the shower and suddenly have to sit down on the floor of the tub because my legs didn't feel like mine. I would be in meetings at work and realize 5 minutes had passed, and I had no idea what anyone had said. I cried exactly twice. Both times alone, both times at night, both times completely silently, because Marcus was in the next room. And then the grief turned into something colder and quieter. Not rage, clarity. I was going to leave him. That was never in question. The question was when and how. I could leave now, confront, cry, split, be devastated for a year, rebuild. Clean and honest and thoroughly miserable. Or I could wait. Because here's the thing about Marcus that you need to know. He had just 2 months before I found that receipt, started his own business. A small creative agency, something he'd been planning for years. He had quit his job, taken out a loan, and signed a lease on a small office space. He was at the stage where everything was fragile and nothing was proven, and every new client relationship was the difference between survival and collapse. He was also specifically in the final stages of pitching a major contract, a retainer with a well-known lifestyle brand, the kind of account that would legitimize the whole enterprise. He had been working on that pitch for months. I had listened to him practice it in our living room. I had given him feedback on his deck. I knew exactly how much that contract meant. And I knew something else, something he didn't know I knew. Part 5, the twist. I need to stop here because this is the part of the story where you're probably expecting a specific thing. You're expecting me to say I called the brand and told them something damaging about Marcus, that I sabotaged the pitch, that I found Nina and exposed the affair, that I did something satisfying and destructive, and I didn't do any of that. Here's what I actually did. For the 6 weeks leading up to Marcus's pitch, I worked, not against him, just for myself. I quietly accelerated a job application I'd been sitting on at a company in another city. I started separating our finances in small, undetectable ways, moving savings back to an account that had only my name on it, changing the billing contact on subscriptions I'd been paying. I had coffee with a lawyer friend and described my situation hypothetically, and she told me hypothetically what a clean separation of a cohabiting couple looked like. I found an apartment, signed a lease, gave a start date for 3 weeks after the pitch. And then, here comes the part that I think about most. I helped him. I helped him prepare for the pitch because he asked me to, and because I was still pretending everything was normal, and because truthfully, the pitch was actually good, and I didn't want to be the reason it failed. I am not built for sabotage. I tried to imagine it once, calling that brand, saying something misleading, and it made me feel sick. That's not who I am, and so I gave him good feedback. I caught 2 weak spots in his deck. I helped him sharpen his clothes. He landed the contract. He came home that evening with champagne. Actual champagne. He put it on the counter and grabbed me and hugged me for a long time and said, "We did it. I couldn't have done this without you." I hugged him back, and I thought, yes, you couldn't have, remember that. 3 days later, while he was at a client meeting, I moved out. Part 6, the note. I left one piece of paper on the kitchen counter. Not dramatic, not long. I want to read it to you exactly as I wrote it because I spent several hours on it, and I think every word was correct. Marcus, I've known for 2 months, the restaurant receipt in my wallet, the note in your jacket, the Thursdays. I'm not going to tell you every detail because I think you already know what you did. I stayed long enough to make sure your business had a real start. You're welcome for the pitch feedback. Don't contact me. I mean that kindly. I genuinely wish you nothing bad. But I'm done, and I've already moved, and there's nothing to discuss. The plant on the balcony needs water every 4 days. You always forgot. LA. I turned off my phone for 48 hours. When I turned it back on, there were 34 missed calls. I didn't listen to a single voicemail. Part 7. The part I didn't plan. Now here's the plot twist, the real one, the one I genuinely did not engineer. About 3 weeks after I left, I got a message from a mutual friend, someone who knew both me and Marcus, and who was not at all caught in the middle because I'd been very careful about not dragging anyone into this. She asked if she could call me. I said yes. She told me that Nina, the woman I believed Marcus was seeing, had come to her, upset. Not about me, not about Marcus, not about any of the things I expected. Nina had found out she wasn't the only one. There was a third person, someone at the new office. A situation that had apparently started right around the time his business launched, right around the time he was telling me he was stressed and needed space to focus. I sat with that information for a while, and here is the feeling I want to describe accurately, because I think it's the most important part of this story. I didn't feel vindicated. I didn't feel like the universe had punished him. I didn't feel victorious. I felt sad. Not for me. I was 3 weeks into a new city, a new job, and the first bedroom that had been entirely mine in 4 years. And honestly, I was sleeping better than I had in months. I felt sad for the version of Marcus I had fallen in love with on that fire escape. That person, warm, boyish, who remembered my coffee order, either never really existed or existed and chose repeatedly to become someone else. I don't know which version of that is more heartbreaking. Epilogue. What the revenge actually was. People always ask me when I tell this story, but where's the revenge? What did you do to him? And I understand why that's unsatisfying, because I didn't expose him. I didn't ruin the business. I didn't send a message to Nina or to the third person or to his parents or post anything anywhere. What I did was this. I made myself completely okay without him, faster than he expected, faster than he was okay without me. The new city worked out. The new job was better than the old one. I had a bedroom with a window that faced east, and I started waking up with actual morning light for the first time in years. I made new friends. I ate at good restaurants without calculating whether he'd enjoy them. I took a solo trip I'd been postponing for 3 years because Marcus wasn't really a travel person. He reached out once 4 months later. A long message. Apologetic, genuine sounding, the kind of thing that might have broken me if I'd received it a year earlier. I read it, I thought about it for approximately 1 evening, and then I responded with 4 words. I hope you're well. Because I actually meant it. Not as a weapon, as a fact. I genuinely hoped he was well. I had just completely stopped caring whether he was. That's the revenge. It doesn't look like anything from the outside. But he wrote a long, aching message and received 4 polite words in return. And somewhere in that exchange, I think he understood what he had actually lost. Not me specifically, the version of himself that I'd believed in. Edit. To the people saying I should have exposed him. Maybe. But I've never made a decision out of anger that I didn't regret. This one I don't regret. Also, yes, the plant is fine. I took it with me.